who found receivers all over the field. Most notably is tight end Luke Haas, who has it feels like it's still catching balls over there. Really was in a position to make a number of big plays that would keep them in it. It wasn't until the final drive of the game that LSU was able to bleed nearly all, and we'll get to this, of the 5 minutes and 6 seconds left to kick the field goal that would eventually provide the winning margin in this game. The Tigers' resiliency on offense was what ruled the day, because it was a very rough defensive outing for the Tigers. All of the progress that they made from the Florida State game to the Mississippi State game went backwards tonight. Yeah. And they were not able to make Jefferson, I'm going to use the word uncomfortable. It seemed like he was very comfortable most of the night. And some of the plays that he made shows why, this is an experienced quarterback. It's a senior in the Southeastern Conference. He's made a lot of big plays in his career, and he made plenty of them tonight. In addition to Jaden Daniels, I thought LSU's contribution from Logan Diggs was another one of the biggest bright spots of the night. LSU only ran the ball with the running backs 5 times in the first half. One of those was the 41-yarder by Josh Williams, but they almost abandoned the running game in the first half. In the second half, they really did get it, other than Daniels. In the second half, they really got it going, and Diggs, who is one of the better between the tackles runners that is not what you would call a bruiser. Okay, most of your running backs that run in between the tackle. Yes, he finds creases where they don't appear to be creases, and makes positive yards, and he explodes through the hole. I don't know what the guy runs a 40 in, and I don't care. All I know is he hits that hole at maximum speed, and he's able to get through. And there's just times where it looks like there is nowhere for him to go, and he ends up making 5 or 6 yards. So I thought that his contributions were huge tonight. Only the second time in LSU history that 2 players went for over 130 yards receiving. Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors each topped that mark tonight, and each of them had 2 touchdowns. The other one, you can guess, Chase and Jefferson were doing that. So all in all, one of those wins, Richard, that you're happy that they corrected the offensive mistakes that plagued them in the first 27 minutes of the games. Yeah. And got that going. More nervous that the defensive problems, for every question that they answered a week ago, 2 more popped up tonight.
There's no doubt. I mean, the first 3 series were a struggle offensively. We didn't move the ball well. We missed some of those throws. I mean, Jaden Daniels had accuracy issues in the first half. The last drive of the first half, where we scored a touchdown, he kind of got it going, but it was a sluggish game. We didn't get it going early on. The defense, I thought they played well for the most part, but they kept missing big plays. But offensively, Jaden was off the first couple of drives. Low balls, the accuracy was bad, but the last drive of the half is where he got it going, and it got back to what we were hoping for.
And he was fantastic in the second half. This was a major theme in the pregame show. We talked about the best way to beat Arkansas was with the big plays. A week ago, BYU had 5 plays of 20 yards or more. 3 of those resulted in touchdowns, and it ended up being what won the game for the Cougars. Arkansas is not the easiest team to just line up and play ball control against, or 4 yards in a cloud of dust. That doesn't really work against them, but they can be had for the big play. Tonight, LSU had 9 plays of 20 yards or more. Problem is they gave up 6.
Yeah.
So a game with 15 plays that went 20 yards or more tonight.
Well, and the bigger problem was early on we had touchdown plays that Jaden underthrew. So
2 of them in the first half.
2 in the first half. I mean, Jaden did not play his best football in the first half. So we're talking about how we went down 13-10 or whatever it was in the first half. Jaden missed 2 touchdown plays. I was texting you in the middle of the game these are the throws we're talking about, and he underthrew them. And, one was to Malik, one was to Brian Thomas. But even the one Brian Thomas caught early on to get the game closer, he had to come back to it. He was just underthrowing the ball early on. The second half, it was what we saw in the Mississippi State game. He was throwing those accurate passes.
Brian Kelly, after the game, had this to say about LSU's 34-31 win over Arkansas.
Well, as expected, this game, which is a rivalry game between Arkansas and LSU, has come down to a field goal over the last 3 years. I know I'm probably telling something to you that you already know, but now make it 4. It's just the nature of two teams that in proximity playing for a rivalry trophy. And look, a team that was, we told our team that they were going to play their very best, and I thought they played their very best. Hats off to Sam Pittman and his team. They played outstanding football. KJ Jefferson was outstanding tonight. Kept plays alive, couldn't get him on the ground. We tried to get him on the ground, but weren't allowed to get him on the ground. So it's just one of those games where we were the last one to have the football, and I wasn't interested in letting Arkansas have another chance. So, again, a great football game. These are the games that you got to find a way to win. We didn't have our best performance early on, but I thought we really played well at the end of the half and in the second half in particular on offense. And defensively, there's a lot that has to continue to get better. And most of them are self-inflicted wounds that are going to have to get better as we go on the road these next 2 weeks.
I certainly understand him not wanting to give the ball back to KJ Jefferson.
No,
I was a little bit scratching my head about why he called a timeout on third down.
Yeah.
Thought they would run it down and kick the ball with no time left on the clock. And when you have to run, on second down, and then when you have to run that third down play, if somebody trips or the ball slips out of somebody's hand, you get a bad snap or anything else,
put you in a situation.
Yeah, because you've used that last time out, but it worked out for him. I don't know if you have a better explanation for that, because I was trying to get him to zero.
No, that's one of those situations I was looking at. I'm like, why?
Why? Yeah.
Why did you do that?
Yeah,
and I couldn't come up with anything for it.
I didn't quite get that one either, but it worked out for LSU. Actually, Kirk Herbstreit on the broadcast made a very good point. If you're Arkansas, let LSU score.
Yeah,
that's about the only way.
In that situation, that's what you do. I'm like, let them score,
because otherwise you're not going to get the ball back.
Exactly.
And that's what happened. But I guess they decided that they were going to try to make something happen, create a turnover, whatever. It did not work. 499-9898 is the number to call on the LaBerge hotline. Now, if you are sitting in traffic that seems worse than usual, you're not imagining it. There is a major accident at Hyacinth, which is one of the biggest arteries, one of the major arteries getting into campus. There's injuries, and it is blocking both lanes. So I'm sure if you're stuck in traffic right now, you're going, thanks for telling me, but I'm already caught.
Give them the phone number, and they're good to go.
Right. So 499-9898, you can talk to us. But if you're stuck in traffic and it seems worse than it normally is, that's why. So if you haven't left the parking lot yet, and you can go and you can steer around that, please do, because Lee and Hyacinth has a major accident at it. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back and take your phone calls. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with 98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day continues. Arkansas wins. LSU beats Arkansas by a score of 34-31. A couple of games in progress right now. Washington leads Cal 45-12 at the half. Washington may be one of the best 2 or 3 teams in the country right now. And USC in a much tougher game than they must have anticipated tonight. 21-13, less than a minute to go to the half. They lead Arizona State. 499-9898 is the number to call on the LaBerge hotline. Let's start things off with Roger in Lafayette. Roger, welcome into the show.
How are you guys tonight?
Good, Roger.
So, great team win, first off. But what are your guys' thoughts on next weekend when we play Ole Miss and waltz into Oxford and take the win?
Well, I was
waltzing to Oxford.
I don't know if this team's waltzing anywhere. I was disappointed in Ole Miss today. I thought they really had opportunities, and I understand Lane Kiffin apologized in the postgame. They really had a chance. Alabama in the first half played about as bad as as I've ever seen them play. And the door was open for Ole Miss to get there, and they could not make a play in the second half. I was surprised that they were not able to throw the ball down the field a little bit more. After watching what Texas did, I thought that they would take some more shots down the field, and they really didn't do that. And Alabama's defense clamped down in the second half.
Second half, Alabama played like Alabama.
They looked a lot, a lot more like a normal Nick Saban type of defense. And look, it could have been worse because McKinstry dropped what should have been a sure interception. But the Ole Miss game has always been, since the schedule came out, one of the trickier spots, I think. It's the first of 2 straight road games, but just like this Arkansas game is usually like pulling teeth, when LSU goes to Ole Miss, a lot of those games have turned into pulling teeth. You know, it just go away. Even the national championship year in 19. Now the game was decided, but
they kept it close.
They kept scoring. They kept scoring. They kept scoring. Oh man, come on, just go away. Look, if LSU plays the way that offense played in the second half, and then they'll be fine. But I'm going to be very concerned. It'll be a major theme of the week as to what Lane Kiffin's going to dial up against his defense, because his defense has got holes all over the place right now.
Well, there's no doubt. If you go back
tonight anyway,
you go back and watch LSU over the last 4 games, the offense has been clicking except for a quarter a game. The first half is where we struggled this week, but the defense is where, man, I see a lot of good things, and then all of a sudden it just disappears, and they start gashing people. Like tonight, we could not cover a tight end to save our life tonight. Number 9 ran around the field all day long, made all the plays. If you go back and look at all the stat sheets, number 9 made most of the big plays for the team. With Lane Kiffin, he always has something going on, so it's going to be a lot closer game. I really wish that it had been – I thought Ole Miss had a shot against Alabama today, but the second half they shut it down. But after watching LSU tonight, it's going to be a game that we're going to have to worry about.
I think that LSU will be able to run the football against them, and I think that
Diggs ran the ball well tonight. And I text you earlier in the game. I said, "Run the football. Yeah. We're running it good. Our guys are making the plays. The line's moving it. I wish we'd have ran it more tonight."
499-9898. Max is in Baton Rouge. Max, welcome into the show.
Hey guys,
Hey,
I got 2 thoughts. One on the field, one off the field. First, I'm excited to see the film breakdown later this week because, to my eye, Mason Smith is not fully back. And that's no knock on him because that's a tough injury to return from. But, with obviously Makai playing the way he plays and with the emergence of Jefferson, I think he's almost our 3rd best lineman so far this year. I was shocked at the amount of snaps, again, to my untrained eye, so you can tell me if I'm wrong later this week, but the amount of snaps where he was just single-teamed and really getting handled by Arkansas's offensive line. So hopefully as he gets confidence, as he gets health, as he gets reps, we can see some of that old player return, but that was a little disappointing. The real thing I want to talk about, though, is off the field. There's this weird thing in life wherever if you just say something enough times, people start to believe it. And for the last 10 years, all I've heard is college football games are too long. College football games are too long. I've never been sitting in an LSU football game thinking it was too long. When we were in overtime with Alabama last year, I wasn't wishing the game had ended in regulation so I could go home. College football is the best damn thing there is in life, and everybody complained it was too long. Well, congratulations. You got what you want. This game absolutely melted away tonight. There should have been 3 to 4 more possessions. And I think it hurt the game, and I don't even know if it's any shorter. They just fill it with more commercials and less football. So congratulations to everybody. You got what you want. You got less college football. You can sit in traffic for 2 hours and get home and watch an extra episode on Netflix because college football is shorter now. Congratulations. You got what you wanted.
Thank you, Max. Appreciate it. About 6 plays is what they've shortened it.
Yeah.
But he's right about the commercials. It's more of that. The actual
that's where
physical
the money
time
comes
of the
from.
game. Sure. Look, I'm in the business. I understand that. I wasn't looking for less football plays. I was looking for the thing that drives me crazy is when they do come back from broadcast and then
when you score a touchdown,
they don't snap the ball for another 45 seconds. You do that 20. There's 20 commercial breaks in a game roughly.
Yeah.
Okay, so 45 seconds times 20 change of possessions or
the ones that kill me is you score a touchdown, you go to commercial, you kick off. And you go to commercial.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that freaking bothers me.
That's more of an NFL thing. They did that a lot. They don't do it as much in college football, but everybody's a little bit different. Max may have been listening to. Did we leave a mic on during the commercial? Because
that's what we were just
exactly
talking
what
about.
we're talking about was Mason Smith and Jordan Jefferson. Jefferson
is a better player right now.
Outplayed him considerably.
Yeah, no, Mason Smith is. He had a bad injury and he's coming back, but he was not a dominant player tonight. He got pushed around all night. I think in the first quarter, the announcers from the game said the offensive line is having their way with Mason Smith. And that's sad to see because, he's one of the guys we look to. But, I was telling Charlie, I said, man, if it's me, I'm starting Jordan Jefferson right now because he's blowing them up. He's making plays. Mason's just struggling right now. I mean, he was getting beat all night long.
He had a rough. It looked like he was really laboring against Grambling. It looked like he was,
It looked a lot like Grambling tonight.
Now, last week we thought he was better. against Mississippi State, that he sort of held point of attack and didn't get moved off the ball.
And what
Tonight,
I told you in our
much.
podcast that we do on Mondays, I said he got better. Grambling, he was holding blocks, and he was holding his position. He wasn't giving up ground.
Yeah.
Tonight, he gave up ground all night long. They pushed him back. He was not effective on the defensive line.
Craig is in New Iberia on the LeBear's hotline. Craig, welcome into the show.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, I just kind of wanted to touch on basically the same thing about how our defensive line got, it looked like they got kind of manhandled. But, on the second, and on the other thing, how many times did we have our hands on the quarterback, but he's a 250-pound, very athletic, strong quarterback, and we had him so many times where it looked like we had him, for a 10-yard loss, and he would just get out and make a play. And our DBs need to quit looking in the backfield when that happens, because we're coming in to tackle the quarterback and we're leaving a wide receiver, a tight end, 20 yards behind us. But other than that, good win. Glad we got out of it with a win. Arkansas always plays us tough. We look forward to Ole Miss next week. Let's go get that W.
Thank you, Craig. Appreciate the call. Here's what drove me crazy. He did escape, 3-4 times when it looked like they had him.
Yeah.
So Harold Perkins finishes off a play late in the game and gets flagged on what would have been, it was 3rd and 18.
Of BS.
Yeah. Okay. So my thing is, I didn't feel like that was late. I didn't feel like that was rough.
That was normal.
That's what's necessary to get KJ Jefferson on the ground, because if you don't deliver a blow or you don't wrap him up,
you can't stop and lean into a guy like that.
Right.
I mean, you have to go full force. I made notes in my notebook right here that was the most BS call, because you can't when a guy's 245 pounds, you can't lean onto him.
No.
You have to go after him. That was a bad call, and it put us in a bad situation.
I mean, it was a huge play in the
ball. What was it,
game.
3rd and long?
It was 3rd and 18.
3rd and 18.
3rd and 18, and
he puts that pressure on him, and that was terrible.
There's 5:13 left in the game at that point, and it's LSU's got a 7-point lead. Well, 4th and 18, you're gonna get the ball back. Well, very next play, they find Haas, who was open.
Was
most
not
of the
covered
night.
all day.
Yeah, he's open all night, and now 5 minutes to go in the game, you're in a tie ball game. I mean, this is a massive call, and I'm not without sympathy for Perkins. I thought Perkins
played it perfectly.
Was playing the right technique. You have to finish KJ Jefferson off, or he will do exactly what he did
If
tonight.
you start to slow up in that situation, you'll never make a play.
Right.
And what he did right there, it was exactly what he was taught to do, is what he's supposed to do. It was just a bad call. I didn't like it, because you can't launch yourself like that to make a play. I mean, I wish we had the replay right now, because he hit him as he threw it.
Yeah.
It's picture perfect.
It really was.
Just a bad call.
It was. 499-9898 is the number to call. Trey is in New Orleans. Trey, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. Good evening. These guys basically touched base on what I wanted to talk about. Mason Smith, basically non-existent. He got bullied around on the offensive line. And then Perkins, how do we utilize this guy to the best of his ability? I mean, this dude is a dog. And then back what you guys were saying, 99, that's Jefferson, dog. Dude had an incredible game. He should be out there every snap. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
I agree.
With regard to Perkins, he's in the right spot now.
No.
He wasn't in the first game. He's in the right spot.
They're going to push
now.
him into coverage just because that's best for the offense. They're going to try to push him out there. But, I mean, it is what it is at that point. I mean, you're going to put him in the outside point. They're going to make him cover the flat. That's what the offense is going to try to do. But when they do that, you have to have a push from the inside.
Yeah. There are times where he will engage with an offensive tackle. If the tackle gets his hands on him,
got him.
Because he's 100 pounds lighter than most
That's
of the offensive
my biggest
tackles in the
problem
league.
is when they put him one-on-one with the offensive tackle and he can't get that edge. If he runs down the middle of him, he's smoked all the time. He gets encountered by that body.
Yeah.
You got to get him in a situation to where he can rush up the field instead of down the middle.
499-9898 is the number to call. Take a break. Be back with more of your calls. LSU wins at 34-31. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few.
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day continues. LSU wins at 34-31. 499-9898 is the number of the LaBerge hotline. Cody is in Gulfport. Cody, welcome into the show.
Hey, thanks, guys. A win is a win, right? But positive note on defense, man, I don't know how Weeks is not going to be able to continue to start. He's being dominant on the defensive side of the ball. Negatively on offense, Jaden Daniels is still tucking and running too fast. And if he didn't have Thomas and Neighbors catching them balls like center fielders waiting on him, we would have been in trouble, man. We can't play like this next week. If we do, we're going to get run out of Oxford. Thank you, guys.
100% agree. I mean, Weeks, to me, I was just telling Charlie in the offset, he was our best defensive player. The plays he's making right now, he's so smooth with what he's doing. He's causing a lot of problems. He is the guy that's going to make the plays on defense. Offensively, Jaden Daniels has to make those throws. He had a bad first half. He missed a lot of guys low. He didn't throw the ball deep, and I 100% agree with you. If he doesn't play, to his 90 percentile, we're going to be in trouble.
Week started last week. He started again tonight. They're still without Omar Spates. It's going to be hard to take him out of the lineup.
You can't. I mean, he's our biggest playmaker right now.
I know you're not supposed to lose your job because of an injury, but he's going to be impossible to take out.
No, you can't take him out. The way he moves, the way he reads the defense. I was texting Charlie throughout the game. He's just the best player on the defense right now, and it's hard to say that as a freshman, but he's very smart. He's very, very intelligent. The way he reads the plays, he is what's going to make Harold Perkins make plays later on.
He had 9 tackles tonight, but
he's responsible for more.
Yeah,
what he did up the middle, he caused confusion. He pushed guys out. When he was way more important to the defense than what his stats record, because he was pushing a lot of guys, making guys open. He played phenomenal.
Bo is in Uptown. Bo, welcome into the show.
Good evening, gentlemen. Usually coming to you from my backyard, but tonight I'm coming to you from the Mobile Bay. I drifted down with the bourbon and the cigar, and
jealous.
It's beautiful here right now. Really, temperature's nice, but
Buffett would be proud.
Was able to watch the game, and sorry I couldn't be there tonight, but had to get away with the family. But nevertheless, a couple comments. It's a great win. One thing that I noticed, the offense seems in the second half found its stride, did what it needed to do. I think it's fine. One thing that I was impressed to see, and it feels, again, I'm not saying it's 2019 because that's a class in its own, but you're starting to see new guys on the defense kind of pop up. And as we saw, we should have gotten off the field a couple of times, but you're seeing Womack. You're starting to see some of these guys that are coming into their own, and it's really fun as an LSU fan to watch the development of these kids. And I feel like the defense is going to turn the corner here pretty soon, and interested to hear what you have to say about some of these young guys.
I do think that we're leaving the microphone on during the breaks because this is all the things we're talking about while we're at the commercial break. Deshaun Womack is a physically imposing young man, and for a freshman, you watch him and you go, okay, this guy is going to be a professional football player. He looks every bit the part, and whereas we talked about Harold Perkins, and maybe there's a position problem there. At the next level or whatever. Womack, 260 pounds or so, really looks like I don't want to say a polished pass rusher because, we're talking about game
he just
4
looks,
here.
He looks like he fits the position.
Yeah.
It's one of those times we've been talking about. I mean, I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, I feel like we're a year away. We got a bunch of young talent in there. We got a bunch of guys that are moving around. I'd say the only thing about being a year away is Jaden Daniels is where we're at now. But next year, we have a lot of position players on defense that can make a lot of plays. It just seems like, they're still learning, still growing. We're missing reads and plays. We're not losing things because of talent right now.
James is in Nashville. James, welcome into the show.
How are you guys tonight?
Good, James.
First off, can I get a stewie? What a win tonight for the LSU Tigers. But my question is, where do you guys see us finishing the season in terms of the record?
The league right now is all over the place. For Texas A&M, for instance, okay, what do they look like by the time they get here? Florida, what do they look like by the time they get here? Auburn, what do they look like by the time they get here? We saw Florida look terrible in week 1 against Utah. We saw them look pretty good against Tennessee. We saw Auburn, win their first 3 games. Today, they ended up putting the true freshman in a quarterback at the end, and I got to believe that it's to see what they've got, because Peyton Thorne, they're not going anywhere with Peyton Thorne.
Peyton Thorne's done.
And I like Robbie Ashford because I think he's he's a really good athlete, and I think that there's some things you can do with him, but he's not a very accurate quarterback. So what are they going to do? Now, they'll be here in just a couple of weeks. But Florida and Texas A&M was stuck in the mud offensively, and the quarterback gets hurt.
The best thing they did was Max Johnson.
Max Johnson comes in, and he really
lights out.
sparks the offense. He throws 2 touchdown passes in back-to-back drives. But we saw A&M throw up on themselves down at Miami. What does Alabama look like by the time you get there? I wish LSU was playing Alabama next week, because give Nick another month and a half and he's liable to figure something out, you know. So picking out Missouri, that's going to be a much more difficult trip. They won again tonight. That's going to be a much more difficult trip.
4-0 right now.
Yeah. This was a spot for a letdown for them after winning the game on the last play last week against a good Kansas State team.
It's the most wide open the SEC's been in a long time.
Yeah, even Georgia, kind of slogged through last week against. And I know LSU doesn't play them in the regular season, but slogged through last week against South Carolina. They were sluggish in the first half today.
They've been sluggish in a lot of games. I mean, the SEC is the most palatable you've seen in a long time. We talked about after Florida State, I was very upset, as I understood. But, the SEC as a whole, there's a lot of questions across the board.
I would much rather – I'd feel a little bit better about LSU had Florida State gone in there and really handled up on Clemson. They were lucky to win today.
That one bothered me today. They were lucky to win.
They were lucky to win today. But, I mean, look, Clemson's not an easy place to win. Even this is not one of
– It just gets a bad rep after Duke beat them.
Yeah.
And it's not that Clemson used to seeing. Clemson was the better team for the 3 quarters today. Travis – whatever name, the quarterback for Florida State.
Jordan Travis, yeah.
Jordan Travis played a great 4th quarter. That's what got him the game.
The scoop and score.
The scoop and score was the biggest play. The sack.
Yeah. And then Clemson misses a 29-yard field goal, which would have put them ahead.
With a guy that they got on campus Monday. That was the craziest story of college football this week. The guy that was going to New York to work for some financial company. They call him last week, and they're like, oh, he's taking online classes. He's still eligible. And they bring him in on Monday.
Right. I think he was working at a restaurant or something.
Yeah, he was supposed to go for this financial company starting. He got his apartment done in New York. He called his boss, said, "Hey, Clemson wants me to come play." He's like, "All right, well, I'll be at the game."
Yeah. Hey, give me some tickets. So picking out a record is pretty tough right now. I thought that they would win 11 games at the beginning of the season, before the season. I got a hard time believing they're going to run the table out.
College football is as wide open as it's been in a few years.
There are teams out. The Pac-12, which we're watching both of these games on side by side here, Washington may very well be. Washington could win the national championship. They're good. They're good enough to do that. They've got an outstanding quarterback. USC is really struggling with Arizona State, which is surprising. But you watched Oregon today. They look very good. There's more teams out west that look good than any year probably since the 90s, back when Arizona was still good and USC was starting to come on, and they hired Pete Carroll, and it hasn't been that way in a while, and the SEC is just not as good.
No, the SEC's struggling right now.
But press for a record, I'd probably tell you that they'll win 9 or 10 games.
There's no doubt, but I think it's just the parity in the SEC. Yeah. Everybody's very, very close.
And if you win 9 or 10 games, if you win 10 games, you can get to Atlanta if you win the right ones.
You just got to get there.
I don't think anybody's going to go 8-0 in the SEC
There's nobody
West.
Sketching wins in right now.
No. Do you think anybody goes 8-0 in the SEC West?
No.
No
way.
I'd be very, very surprised. Lance is in Fort Worth. Lance, welcome into the show.
Hey, y'all.
Hey,
I just wanted to ask you, what grade would you give House thus far, and do you think we should be trying to get to the quarterback a little more on 3rd downs, blitzing a little more than we're seeing? I'll hang up and listen. Thanks.
A grade on Matt House, the defensive coordinator.
My only problem with it is soft coverage. He plays soft coverage in 3rd down. I had a problem with it last year. I had a problem with it this year. But it's tough. I mean, he plays very good in the mid-range area. When he's in 3rd and short, he plays too much soft coverage. But I also think it's a problem with we don't have the elite DBs we've had in a long time. We don't have the talent that we're used to having, press man coverage, guys that are going to win majority of the time. I think what he's having to do is he's based off our talent right now, and we're playing a lot of soft coverage that LSU fans aren't used to.
C- is where I'm at. You got beat in the first game. I mean, you got thumped in the second half, and there were so many open receivers in that game. And had Florida State not had a couple of drops, the numbers would have been even worse.
When's the last time LSU went 2 years without a drafted corner?
Ooh.
I mean, and when I played, we had a first-round corner every year.
Yeah.
And this is what's killing me. We just don't have the talent. We're used to playing man press coverage where we have guys that are better than you every single time. The talent we have right now, and that's on the coaching staff because the coaches aren't recruiting them. We don't have day one draft picks at the cornerback position right now.
You get no credit.
Dwight McLaughlin was the best cornerback on the field tonight. He used to play for LSU.
Right, he did. You're not going to get any kind of credit for beating an FCS school.
Yeah.
Mississippi State is a mess offensively.
That was on their offense. They were terrible.
Right. So the two teams you've played with an offensive heartbeat have put up, 76 combined?
And we're not talking about how good they were offensively.
No. So the two teams where you looked good defensively, like I said, how much credit are we going to give you for either one of those? Let me see what I was looking up real quick to see what State did offensively tonight. They did put 30 points on the board, so that was maybe this is a little bit better. Oh wow, Rogers threw for 487. Okay, I didn't get to see any of that game.
They moved it. They changed the offense.
They ran the ball 23 times for 32 yards, but Rogers threw for 487. Okay, maybe we should give them a little bit more credit.
No. I mean, we just haven't. It hadn't been there. I mean, we've given up plays day in, day out. I mean, I was so frustrated yelling. And I'm a tight end. I love tight end play. Yeah. We could not cover a tight end to save our life tonight. He was wide open. Nobody was within 10 yards of him all night long. It's been a problem. Like I agree with you. C+.
That's a C-.
C-? Okay.
C-. 499-9898 is the number on the LaBerge hotline. We'll be back with more of your calls. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come on, in Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down to
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's a luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Scooncha fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded.
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day continues from the downtown studios of the flagship station. 34-31 was your final tonight. 499-9898 is the number. Jonathan is in Baton Rouge. Jonathan, welcome into the show.
Yes, sir. How y'all doing?
Good.
Yeah, I just had one thing to say. I agree with the excessive timeouts for TV timeouts. And then also, I hope somebody asks Mr. Kelly tomorrow, or not tomorrow, Monday, at his lunchtime press conference, how mad he was after the interception. When Arkansas intercepted us, the guys just ran off the field and kind of were like happy about it. When we intercepted it, we ran from the 30-40 where we intercepted it from all the way to the south end zone. And he ran from the 30 almost all the way to the 20 to yell at the guys because we should have gotten an excessive acceleration penalty, which would have negated everything. I don't know if y'all saw that or whatnot on the broadcast, but I was there. I was in the south end zone, and I could see his face turn red from it. I mean, at that point, they weren't doing that great on defense. When you start being DBU again, then you can do that. I just wanted y'all's thoughts about that.
Thanks. I'm sure that is why he was aggravated.
I will say from a player, that was major turn in momentum. You just had an interception from Jaden Daniels that you're not used to. He misread a coverage. You're trying to move the ball down. And when the defense immediately negates that interception and gets one on their own, they're going to celebrate. Like, I'm not going to say that it was the right thing to do, but it was a huge momentum from the offense or from a team standpoint to show up and take care of and back up your offense.
I'll say this too, that not that they couldn't have gotten a penalty, but both at the college and the pro level, the officials are very, very liberal now with what they allow after turnovers.
Have fun.
Yes.
What they're saying.
Yeah. They had gotten so strict, especially in the NFL for years, that almost like a high five or a fist pump was going to get you.
You couldn't celebrate a big play for a long time.
I forgot who the guy was, but after an interception, he just walked over to the sideline like he was a soldier marching, in a stretch,
Yeah.
and he walked and sat down and folded his hands and put them in his lap like I'm behaving. And so they kind of got to the point where they were like, listen, man, you're legislating all of the fun out of the game. So I'm not saying they couldn't have got one, but they've been pretty liberal about
Well,
that.
and they've been good, and I get why Kelly's frustrated because they were not playing good at the time. So don't celebrate the one thing you did good.
Yeah.
You got a lot of other problems. We need to understand who we are. But in that situation, as a former player, I'm like, okay, momentum-wise, that was huge.
Zach is in Lafayette. 499-9898 is the number. Zach, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys, were you not a little concerned with the end of game sequence
Yes.
at the end of the game with the – why did we not take the timeout after the third down play instead of after the second down play, and we just knelt the ball after the second down play and run the clock down and take the timeout then and then kick the field goal?
Well, the other caller said he wants somebody to ask about the celebration.
Yeah.
I want to ask about that.
That's all I want to ask about because I was so freaking out about that.
Yeah. So the sequence.
You leave a timeout in case you have an issue, and I there's nothing I can understand the way they played that sequence out.
I know what he was trying to do. Okay, he was trying to kick the field goal as time expired.
Yeah,
but you took the timeout after second down. Okay, so then on third down, there's 8 seconds to go when they take. I'm sorry, 11 seconds to go when they snap the ball on third down. You can't ask Jaden Daniels to run around for 9 seconds.
He's got to throw it out the back of the end zone and throw a touchdown. That's it.
He's got, and I'm sure what Kelly told him was, if somebody is standing in the end zone all by themselves, go ahead and throw them the ball. But other than that, just say, what you really want, and Herbstreit said this on the broadcast, Arkansas should have let LSU score. When they hand the ball to Diggs on first down and second down, let them score. Your best chance to win, because you don't have any timeouts left, Arkansas. So you let LSU score, and then you give the ball to KJ Jefferson, and you say,
you got a minute left.
You got a minute to go. Go down, score,
tie it up, get to overtime.
Go for two.
Yeah, or go for two.
Go for two and try to win the game right there. But if you allow LSU to just run the clock down, but what I thought they were going to do was, I thought that after second down, they were going to run a play on third down, run the clock down, and call a timeout to go out there and kick on fourth.
Yeah.
That's what I thought that they were going to do, and he ended up, on third down, Daniels has got to throw the ball out of the end zone. I realize the chances of this happening are very, very small, but the ball could have slipped out of his hands. You could have had a bad snap. You could have had a bad snap. He could have
got a sack fumbled. There's too many problems that I don't like about the situation.
Yeah, because if anything goes on that the clock is running, you're going to be out. You can't rush the field goal unit in that amount of time onto the field to get it.
You're going to go to overtime. I mean, that was my biggest problem with it. I mean, I love having a timeout in your pocket when you're trying to run the clock down.
It worked. It worked out. They got it, and everything was fine. Clunky.
You texted me that in the first quarter.
Clunky. That's Gordy's word. Let's see. Mike is in New Orleans. Mike, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I just tuned in, so I must have missed a Charles Handegriff rant about the TV time based on one of the previous callers.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. The caller was upset. Wasn't me.
So my question is, after today's game, has your opinion about Brian Kelly and his potential at LSU changed? And the reason I asked that question is because in 2005, LSU lost to a 5-6 Tennessee team. And after that game, there was a faction of the fan base who, no matter what Les Miles did from that point on, would never be a good coach and would never satisfy their expectations. And Charles, I think one of your co-hosts is among those, even though later that year, LSU wound up winning the SEC West, although they lost to Georgia big in the game. In the championship game. But here we are about 20 years later. LSU loses to a 5-7 Texas A&M team last year, just after almost losing, or maybe a game before, I can't recall. They were lucky to get out of Arkansas against a backup quarterback. They come into this year, they get smoked by Florida State in the opener, and then they're in a complete dogfight against what I think was a 17.5-point underdog in Arkansas. And the game came down to the wire, And I'd agree with your comments that he's mismanaging the clock down the stretch, and we were lucky to get out of this game with a win. So, again, just, has your opinion based on what we've seen in a year and 4 games of Brian Kelly with the issues we've seen? Granted, he's got some obstacles to overcome, and he's got to rebuild the roster. But as far as game management and having his team ready week to week, has your opinion of him changed from what you thought when he was hired as the LSU coach? Thanks.
Okay. No,
I agree.
Not really. The guys always. They screwed up the end of the game. Okay, that could have been bad.
Yeah,
they got away with it. Okay, but I think the guy's been a pretty solid game manager.
He's a good coach.
Yeah, for a long time. I do still have some concerns about some of the recruiting holes.
That's my
that
biggest
they have.
concern is the talent on the roster right now.
Particularly in the secondary, you would like to see an upgrade. And there's been a handful of Louisiana kids that have gotten away. And I'm talking about in the secondary, but also in the defensive line. They've cycled through multiple defensive line coaches now over the last 4 years. Your defensive line coach is typically one of your ace recruiters, okay? And they simply haven't had any stability at that position, and I think it's hurt them. I'm concerned about that. The Tennessee game in 2005 was one of the oddest situations I think I've ever covered at LSU. It was a Monday night game. It was right after Hurricane Rita.
I was watching it in a condo after I lost my house.
Oh, okay.
While getting recruited.
No, so this is 3 weeks after Katrina and 2 days, 3 days, whatever it was after Rita. And all I can tell you is that living in Baton Rouge at that time was bizarre, okay?
Yeah.
And that team was exhausted. And the first half was a little bit of fool's goal. They got a turnover, they got a pick six, and then they got Clausen came in the game and really sparked Tennessee. But in the second half, I don't think I've ever seen a team more physically exhausted than that LSU team was. No, my concerns about Miles had come the week before or 2 weeks before when they were in Tempe, and he's faking punts out of his own end zone, and he's calling timeout with the clock stopped and things like that. It's like, wait a minute, this doesn't quite look too pure. So I'm not going to dispute what you said that for some people it was. It wasn't for me. I had other concerns about game management, but it didn't really stem from that Tennessee game because of the outside circumstances. That's how I felt about it anyway.
I remember that game so well because that's when I knew I was committing to LSU.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting in a condo in Goshen, Mississippi after we lost our house in Katrina, and when they started to lose that game, I smashed a remote against the side of the wall because I was so mad. And I'm like, why do I care? I guess I'm going to LSU.
Right.
But,
okay.
For Brian Kelly's a great coach. There's no complaints I have about him and the way he's calling the game. And, I hate to say this as an LSU true blood hardcore, but it's the least talented team in the secondary that LSU's had in a long time. We don't have the talent that we're used to having. And that's something, if you want to talk about concern going forward, he's got to recruit to the level that LSU's used to in the secondary.
499-9898 is the number to call. Rickton is in Lafayette. Rick, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. How are you tonight?
Good.
Good.
So after we dominate Ole Miss next weekend, I just want to ask, where should we book a tea time in Atlanta for the SEC championship?
Wait till we beat Ole Miss.
Sugarloaf. I hear that's a really nice course. Listen, this is a 2-week road trip that's got pitfalls all over the place. Ole Miss is capable of playing a lot better than they did today. I think LSU's better, but it's certainly not a game that I'm going to put. They definitely win. Can't lose. And the same thing at Missouri. The last time they went to Missouri, they lost. And, that was the Miles Brennan game. Brennan threw for 4, whatever it was, and they still lost the game. And Missouri's playing pretty well right now. They won again tonight. They're 4-0. So I'm not taking anything for granted.
Yeah.
Now, LSU will be favored in both of those games. and I think they can win and probably should win both of those games, but I don't think that they are in any way are guaranteed wins.
I think with Ole Miss, them favored by a field goal. I don't see them being favored by much more. I mean, Ole Miss played that Alabama game close. Alabama played the second half very well. That was the best Alabama played all year.
I think it'll be more than that. I was
on the road. Is it in Oxford?
It's in Oxford. I thought that this line was a little taller than I thought it would be.
I told everybody that called me before the game, said, if I'm betting, take Arkansas. We're not going to win by 18.
When's the last time? They thumped them in 19, but 19 is, it was just a crazy season.
Yeah.
Other than that, LSU,
it's been a 3-point game the last 3 games.
The last,
what I said on the broadcast.
The last 3 years have all been 3-point games, and then tonight made 4. They thumped them in 19. Arkansas was bad, and LSU obviously was great. And then Miles' last 2 teams, they got away from Arkansas, but the 10 years before that, from 07 to say
lost in
16,
double overtime in 07.
Yeah, lost in overtime, double overtime there. Lost by a point the following year. That was the last play of the first half where the defensive backs ran into each other and they got
I'll get mad at that. We got a personal foul. I love my boy Raheem. Kicked the ball. They gave him a personal foul. We had 2 personal fouls on the last drive.
Right.
They gave him to it, and the guy that caught the ball on the fade route was a LSU commit in my class that flopped last minute. That was a tough one.
They, there were a few games in there where they barely won the 09. They won by a field goal.
My senior year, we barely won.
That was 09.
Yeah,
they won that game. I think 33-30, maybe.
It was very close. Yeah.
And then Arkansas won under Bobby Petrino. They beat LSU in 2010.
I heard T-Bob talk earlier today when I was driving in that T-Bob's record, and he was a 5-year guy. He got redshirted. He was 2-3 against Arkansas.
Yeah, this series has been
always
like
close.
A trip to the dentist. Yeah. I mean, for LSU, it's really
don't want to go there.
No, it's been hard. 499-9898 is the number to call. We'll take a break. Be back with more of your phone calls. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
We're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Scooncha fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, They've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family, a front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
Eagle 98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day continues. LSU, a 34-31 winner tonight against Arkansas. 499-9898 is the number on the LaBerge hotline. Steven is in New Road. Steven, welcome into the show.
Hey, first off, Charles, I just want to say I appreciate how you've stepped up past couple years with the LSU media. But I want to say I think LSU offense can hang with anyone. They're going to do good enough. I say, where do you think the defense stacks up in the SEC as far as ranking?
Right now, I would have them in the. I would have them closer to probably the third quadrant. If you're gonna talk about the top 3 or 4 teams, and then the next 3 or 4 teams, and the next 3 or 4 teams, and the next 3 or 4 teams, I would say they're probably in the third quadrant. I can't, in good conscience, at this point, put them in the top half of the conference. So I don't think they're at the very bottom either. But that's where I would. Here's the encouraging thing. If you're looking at LSU defensively, I think there is enough young talent that is making progress that my hope is that they will be a better defensive team in November than they are in September. When Weeks has got 6 starts under his belt or 7 starts under his belt, when Perkins, gets back, I mean, they basically, I don't want to say they wasted the whole offseason with him, but they
wasted the whole offseason with him.
They spent, months and months and months.
Put him in a situation they're not going to play with.
That they completely took him out of. I look at a guy like Deshaun Womack and go, okay, when he gets a little bit more time.
Yeah.
Mason Smith had a poor game tonight, but I'm hopeful that when his conditioning returns completely, that he will be better. And there's others, back there in the secondary that I'm hopeful. And obviously I don't think that they're going to get Greg Brooks back, but I think there's enough young players on the defense. I think they'll be. My hope is that they will be better in November.
No, they're getting better. I think the secondary is getting better. They're starting to solidify who they're going to use in the back, using 10 and 27 or 28 or 20. I think it's 27. I texted you earlier. I think Weeks is the best guy on defense right now.
Yeah.
The way he's playing ball as a true freshman is unreal. He's reading the defenses. He's splitting gaps. He made way more plays tonight than the stat sheet's going to show. But they need more guys to come on. And like Deshaun Womack, had a good game tonight. I think Savion Jones got to keep coming. Mason Smith has to get to the form where we've all expected. He's had a lot of hype. We've all talked about him for 2 years now. He's not, he's in his third game back. Tonight was terrible. It was a bad game for him. He got pushed around. I think, if I was going to next week, Jordan Jefferson's got to start over him. I mean, Jordan Jefferson made plays all night long, but you need a Mason Smith in that rotation to keep the defensive line fresh.
Yeah. So they've made personnel changes already. I mean, I thought Greg Penn, has shown out the last couple of weeks that
I'd have to go back and watch the film tonight. My biggest question in the linebacker, because it's linebacker safety situations, nobody covered 9 tonight.
Yeah, whoever's supposed to be covering.
Greg Penn had a couple of them. The corner had 1 or 2. I'd really have to go back and watch that, because that's tonight. The biggest frustration for me was the covering of the number 9, the tight end. When he got back out, he made all the big plays for Arkansas.
Yeah. No argument there. Jules is in Abbeville. Jules, welcome into the show.
Hey, fellas. Well, it seems like Arkansas tight ends have been giving us trouble for a while, going back to the Henry twins and Hayden Hurst. So that's nothing new. We used to be DBU, and for the oldies, it's now DBUNO. Hey, good. Glad we put a little laughter in there. Okay, so LSU, the defense really needs to pick it up if we're going to contend. We could win out and we could lose 4 games. So how about them Buffaloes? What's y'all's take on Prime?
Well, okay, so I heard this today, and I think was it Dan Lanning that said it? The Cinderella story is over. They were not supposed to win this game. No. They were a 3-touchdown underdog, and they're not equipped as a program right now to play with a team as good as Oregon. Okay?
The first half they had a total of 21 yards, and Oregon had 378.
Yeah. Dion was supposed to win. I think their win total before the season started was 3.5.
Yeah.
He's going to exceed that, okay? But I understand all of the media hype and, game day and all that stuff, but I never expected them to go to Oregon and win. I don't expect them to beat USC next week. At the end of the season, they've got to play on the road against Utah, who presumably by that time will have Cameron Rising back, and at Washington State, who's 4-0 and is pretty good.
Yeah.
And Cam Ward had a monster game tonight, and that was a very good game that they play. I had it on the side against Oregon State, who was also undefeated, and that's a pretty good Wazoo team. I don't expect them to win those games. It's these games in the middle that they have a chance to win or chance to lose, against Arizona, against Arizona State, against UCLA, against Stanford. Those are all what I would call maybe not quite 50-50 games, but they're
winnable.
They're all winnable. They're all losable, and more than likely they will probably split those games, and he'll end up somewhere around 6-6. It doesn't mean that, he became a worse coach between last week and this week. He's done a good job. He went up there without probably
their best player.
Their best player didn't play, and if he had played, they would have lost.
Yeah.
They're not at the point in their program development
he did an interview,
to be able to play.
He did an interview a couple. I don't know if it was last week. He said, "I'm about 9 guys away from being, a top contender."
Yeah,
he's still working on that roster.
They've got a ways to go, but I don't know. Like I said, I thought that they were going to lose. I think they're going to lose next week too.
He's got to get the big guys in there. I mean, Shedeur was sacked 7 times tonight.
He has been hit more times than any quarterback going into this weekend. Led the nation in hits per drop back.
And he was sacked 7 times tonight.
And so I'm sure he's still probably leading. I don't know how many times he got hit besides that. Probably still leading the nation. And they can't run the football at all.
No.
That offensive line is just not good. It's a miracle they're 3-1.
They have
honestly.
They have great skilled position players right now. Where they're lacking is the big boys in defensive line and the offensive line.
They probably should have lost to Colorado State last week, but won.
Yeah.
They could have lost to TCU in week 1, but they didn't. They won. So I think Deion's fine.
He's doing great. I mean, what he's motivating the guys to do, there's not a more motivated team, a more inspired team in college football than what they're doing. But, he'll be the first one to tell you. I saw a few interviews with him. They're doing more with less than, what they expect.
Now, if they had lost to, I'm going to say a non-conference game to a team that was not in a Power 5 conference, okay, well, then you go, you know what, you really shouldn't lose a game to, I don't know, Tarleton State or somebody. Yeah, but losing to Oregon at Outson, no, that doesn't. There's no shame.
They were a 21-point dog for a reason.
Yes. Carla is in Walker. Carla, welcome into the show.
Hey, honey.
Hey, Carla.
How are you?
We're doing great. How are you?
I'm good. Ron Kelly is offensive-minded. He loves his tight ends. How come you can't defend against other teams' tight ends?
I don't know.
Great question.
That is a good question. I don't have listen, I want to put my man Dixon to work on the film, okay? And he's going to – Monday when we do the podcast –
Watch a lot of film on this one.
Yeah, he's going to come up with all of the answers as to whose fault this is. Why is this tight end running free all night?
Just from right off the top of the dome from watching the game, it was the linebacker, Greg Penn, which we love. He missed one. A cornerback missed one. I got to go back and watch it because it was the most frustrating thing to me tonight, watching number 9 run down the field wide open.
Probably wasn't any one person, if I had to guess, but we'll have better answers for you and go back and look at this thing again. But, yes, that was a problem. I don't –
He was wide open all night long.
He was.
Every time they made a big play, it was 3rd and long, number 9 got the ball.
He did. Carla, thanks for the call. Charlie is in Lafayette on the LeBear's hotline. Charlie, welcome into the show.
Hey, how you guys doing? I've enjoyed listening to you all driving back to Lafayette. A lot of good points y'all made. Y'all were talking about some of the Arkansas series, and you were talking 2009. 2010, I remember when there was the last play of the half, Arkansas threw an 85-yard touchdown pass. I was there in Little Rock in the end zone. And then they beat them. They really curb stomped them, when Bobby Petrino was shooting the bird to Les Miles. I remember that.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And then 2012, the John L. Smith year, Arkansas was thrown in the end zone on the last play of the game. LSU won 17-10. And then Brett Bielema's first year, Anthony Jennings took them 99 yards to win 27-24, and then they got beat after they had lost Alabama, in the overtime game, and then he came down and put most of the nail in Les Miles' coffin until the next year. Then they beat them really bad in 2016 when Ed Ogeron was the interim coach, and 17 they beat them bad, then 18, but since 2020, like I said, it's like Tom Brady. He always won Super Bowls by 3 points, so it's a strange kind of series. But, look, I was frustrated watching it because one of the things tonight, they were doing a great job on first and second down, but Arkansas would get these third down plays like they get 2nd and 13, and then the guy runs through the line and gets 12 yards and makes it 3rd and 1, and stuff. So those were the things that were crazy. They stopped them or 2 plays, and it was that third down, which was the kill. So it's just something I watch. I'm glad they won. I think they'll win next week, but they could lose, and I think they'll win in Missouri. But like you said, then Auburn and Army. So this season could go anywhere. But the SEC is not strong this year. You're right on top of it, but there's no one in college football that's totally dominant. So anyway, I enjoyed listening to you guys.
Thanks, Charlie. Appreciate it. Arkansas 8 of 13 on 3rd down tonight, and then they made a 4th down conversion. So really 9 out of 14.
KJ played awesome tonight. I mean, he made a lot of plays. I think they used his legs a lot more than we talked about earlier in the week. Yeah, to me it was frustrating, but when you go back down, and I'm talking about just watching it, not going back and looking at everything, all the big plays were made by a tight end leaking out on 3rd and long.
No argument. The kid ended up, Luke Haas is who we're talking about, 6 catches for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I never had that.
If you had told me it was 170 yards, I would have believed
but,
you.
But, a lot of people talk about, like, LSU is so much more dominant. There's such a little difference between a 3-star guy and a 4-star guy. I mean, it's all about numbers. I mean, those guys are just as good. When you play in the SEC, the talent is way closer than what people see in the recruiting rankings. Everybody's very, very close, and Arkansas always plays you tough.
499-9898 is the number to call. The Bears hotline is open. Ron in New Orleans is next. Ron, welcome into the show.
Hey, man, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Hey, I think we all can agree that it was a little weird, mismanaged at the end of the game, Coach Kelly, but I don't think anybody's touched on the mismanage of Coach Pittman's timeouts in the second half. That kind of cost them the game, if you think about it.
No doubt.
I think I was at the game, and we didn't really have much to get excited about in the first half. It was a little weird first half. But the second half, the crowd got into it, and I think that's what made him kind of misuse the timeouts. The crowd got rocking, little miscommunication errors, and then it kind of bit him. So I credit the crowd a little bit to help pick these guys up on a little bit on defense, and then we got going offensively in the second half to figure it out. But I don't think nobody mentioned that. I thought it was a good point, and it's kind of like it takes away a little bit from Coach Kelly about the mismanaged thing when you look at Coach Pittman.
All right. Thank you for the call, Ron. No question that those timeouts.
I think they had 7 false starts in the game, 7+.
Ooh.
I mean, it was pretty bad. I mean, and that's credit to the crowd.
Not having those timeouts. Let's see, where was he on the penalties? 11 for 69. I don't know how many of those were false starts. Misusing timeouts or that game management at the end. We saw this bite Notre Dame tonight.
Yeah.
Notre Dame had the lead. They were trying to run out the clock, and they ended up with a second down play where they threw an incompletion with a little over 2 minutes to go in the game. And because of that, Ohio State was able to save a timeout, and they had to have it on the last drive with the intentional grounding penalty. They had to have it. If they don't have that timeout, Notre Dame might win. If they run the football on that, anything to keep
you
the clock
have to have the timeout, the timeout the way they won that game.
Yeah. So this is not the only place where there was a little bit of, now, like I said, for LSU it worked out, but we see this a lot. Jimmy's got an interesting theory on why some coaches have problems managing the clock, and he says they don't watch games, they watch film.
Yeah.
Okay, they don't watch, and so scenarios that we've seen a lot of times. Okay, coaches don't necessarily watch games like that. They
play it out play by play in the way the film, and the way the down and distance.
They're great in all of those things, and some of them just are not as good at managing the clock. And I don't remember. Help me out here. I can't remember a game where Kelly's butchered the clock.
No,
at LSU.
He's talking about Sam Pittman more in this game. Where
right.
They had a lot of issues where KJ Jefferson was trying to get everybody lined up. They couldn't get the communication. I thought it was early on that 3rd and goal, whatever. They ended up getting a false start, pushing back. But KJ's looking around trying to talk to everybody, and they can't get it out in time, have to call a timeout. I mean, that's credit to the crowd. There was a lot of issues where they could not get the communication. But I'm not going to put all of that. I mean, you have to use your timeouts when nobody knows what's going on.
Listen, it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Last week, Missouri, lining up for a 56-yard field goal to win the game, got called for a delay of game. They were still on the sideline.
Yeah.
It's not even they were at the line of scrimmage and didn't get the ball snapped. They're on the sideline, okay? They obviously thought that the play clock had been, re-upped and reset, and it wasn't. And they're on the sideline. I'm like, that can't possibly be the play clock running out. They're still in a huddle on the sideline. Certainly somebody went and looked at it. No, they back them up 5 yards. They're going to kick the ball from 61 yards. Not a kid made it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you're talking about the edge of field goal range from, just about any college kicker or outside of their range, and this kid ends up drilling. So we see these clock mismanagement things happen. But I'm with you on the Pittman thing. The crowd had a lot to do with that.
And them running out of timeouts was hugely in our favor late in the game.
We'll take a break. We'll come back and we'll take another look at the yardstick scores in college football. We still got 2 games going on in the Pac-12. Game balls as well. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Scooncha fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded.
98.1.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Eagle 98.1. WDGL and AC1 Baton Rouge. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Stat Check. Presented by Luba. Luba, genuine dependability.
Pretty even yardstick, as you would imagine. 26 first downs for LSU, 25 for Arkansas. Passing yards, 320 for the Tigers, 289 for the Razorbacks. Rushing yards, 189 for LSU, 137 for Arkansas. LSU averaged those 6.5 yards per carry. Arkansas only 3.7 tonight. Third down efficiency, it was pretty good for both teams. 6 out of 10 for the Tigers, 8 out of 13 for the Hogs, and they also made their only fourth down attempt tonight. Penalties, 11 for 69 yards for Arkansas. What you were saying about some of the false starts and the delay of game. LSU 5 penalties for 51 yards. Arkansas turned the ball over twice. LSU turned it over once. Time of possession, 34-22 for the Hogs, 25-38 for the Tigers. Individually, for LSU, Jaden Daniels, 20 of 29, 320 yards, 4 touchdowns and a pick. KJ Jefferson, 21 of 31, 289, 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. They did credit an interception on the last play of the game. Rushing, Logan Diggs, 14 carries for 97 yards. Josh Williams, 41 yards on his only carry of the night. Daniels had 10 carries for 36 yards. Caleb Jackson had 2 carries for 14 yards. For 12 yards, excuse me. Looked good, right? Fresh legs. I'm like, oh, man. Look,
I thought he was about to get rolling.
I thought the fourth quarter was going to belong to him, but no. Rashad Dumignon with 78 yards on 15 carries for Arkansas. KJ Jefferson, 16 carries for 48 yards. Hey, guess who's the leading receiver for Arkansas tonight? That's right, Luke Haas, tight end, number 9, 6 catches, 116 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Andrew Armstrong with 6 catches for 76 yards. Brian Thomas, 5 catches, 133 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Malik Neighbors, 8 catches for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. Only the second time in LSU history that 2 receivers have gone for 130 yards or more. The other time was Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. Defensively, Jaheim Thomas, 13 tackles for Arkansas, and Chris Paul Jr. with 8. LSU led by Major Burns and Greg Penn, both of whom had 12 tackles tonight. Penn also had a sack. Whit Weeks had 9 tackles and a half a sack in the game, and Andre Sam had 7 total tackles for LSU. Ramos made both of his field goals. Jay Bramblett punted twice for a 38-yard average. Cam Little made all 3 of his field goals for Arkansas, and Max Fletcher had a 53-yard punt in his only attempt of the night. We're brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com. When you're coming in for tailgating, stop by at Rouse's and pick up some Supreme Rice for all of your jambalayas and your etouffees, your red beans, anything you're making with rice, make it with Supreme Rice. And support our Louisiana farmers down near Crowley, Louisiana since the 1930s. Whether it's the brown, the long grain, the medium grain, or the jasmine, Supreme Rice is a perfect complement to any of your meals, whether it be at home or out tailgating. And because they want future generations of farmers to benefit, they are part of the Climate Smart program. The Climate Smart program reducing emissions and doing water conservation. So support our Louisiana farmers and buy Supreme Rice. You're going to get more for your money as well. For more information and some great recipes, go to the website at supremerice.com. Full scoreboard is straight ahead. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded.
98.1. The Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln College Football Scoreboard. Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln, on airline into the giant American flag.
All right, game's in progress. USC Caleb Williams has just thrown a touchdown pass to make it 33-21. This is early in the fourth quarter. USC leading a very pesky Arizona State team. They are going to kick the extra point here, try to make it 34-21. 10:31 to go in that one. Number 8, Washington leads Cal 59-25. Michael Penix is done for the night. He threw 4 more touchdown passes tonight. Washington was up 14-0 before Penix ever got on the field.
Yeah.
They had a pick 6 and a punt return before the Washington offense ever even went out there. Halftime on the island, New Mexico State leads Hawaii 17-3, and everything else has gone final. Fresno State beat Kent State 53-10. That just went final not too terribly long ago. Back to the top. Number 1 Georgia beat UAB 49-21. This was 28-14
They played
at the half.
close at half.
Yeah, Carson Beck threw 3 touchdown passes for the Bulldogs. Number 2 Michigan welcomed Jim Harbaugh back. They beat Rutgers 31-7. Blake Corum had a couple of touchdown runs for the Wolverines. Number 3 Texas beat Baylor 38-6. Number 4, Florida State beat Clemson 31-24 in overtime. Lots of things in this game, but the key play, a sack and then a scoop and score from 56 yards out for Florida State, tied the score in that was late in the third quarter. And then in the latter stages of regulation, Clemson missed a 29-yard field goal that would have put them ahead.
With a field goal kicker that they brought off the streets Monday.
Yes, the guy that was bartending.
Yeah,
last week,
he was moving to New York, and they called him, hey, you think you can come kick for us?
Sure.
Kicked his first time Monday.
And he missed. Yikes. Number 6 Ohio State beat number 9 Notre Dame on what essentially was the last play of the game. They still had a kickoff, but on 4th and goal from right outside the 1, Ohio State powered in and won this thing 17-14. Just a heartbreaking loss for Notre Dame, which led for a good chunk of the second half. They were behind 3-0 at the half, but then they took the lead into the beginning stages of the fourth quarter and just could not quite hang on.
And the worst part about it is Ohio State might lose their best player on offense. Marvin Harrison Jr. got a bad ankle.
I didn't see how bad.
The way I watched the film when I saw it happen live, I had to turn my head. It looked bad.
Yikes. Number 7 Penn State, the whiteout game. They beat number 24 Iowa 31-0. Iowa had 76 yards of total offense, fumbled 6 times today, and lost 4 of them. You think your team's got problems? Watch the Iowa offense. Drew Allard, the freshman quarterback for Penn State, threw 4 touchdown passes for the Nittany Lions. Number 10 Oregon beat number 19 Colorado 42-6. Bo Nix threw 3 touchdown passes for the Ducks. Number 11 Utah beat number 22 UCLA 14-7. Pick 6 early in the ball game off of UCLA quarterback Drew Moore ended up being one of the biggest plays of the day. Number 13 Alabama got themselves right in the second half and beat number 15 Ole Miss 24-10. They were behind 7-6 at the half. McClellan ran for 105 yards and a touchdown. Number 21 Washington State beat number 14 Oregon State. These teams have met 100 times, and this is the first time it's ever happened when both of them were ranked. How's that? 38-35 was your final. Cam Ward threw 4 touchdown passes for Wazoo. Number 16 Oklahoma beat Cincinnati 20-6. That's a conference game, by the way. First and only time I'm thinking it will be a conference game. Excuse me, in the Big 12. Number 17 North Carolina beat Pitt 41-24. Number 18 Duke beat UConn 41-7. Impressive win for the Duke Blue Devils. NC State went up there and only won by 10. This was a big look-ahead spot for them. They got Notre Dame coming to campus next week.
Mike Elko's doing a hell of a job.
He is. This will be the first time that Game Day has ever gone to Duke for football.
Yeah.
Notre Dame coming to town next week. Duke has won all 4 of their games by at least 20 points. The first time they've ever won 4 games by at least 20 points in the history of the school. Yes, Mike Elko is doing yeoman's work. Number 20 Miami goes to 4-0. They beat Temple 41-7. Number 23 Tennessee beat Texas San Antonio 45-14. It was Florida over. Come on, man. Talking to my computer. Number 25 Florida beat Charlotte 22-7.
Best catch of the season. The guy from Florida making the one-handed.
Tell me he doesn't have the sticky on his
he's got some stickiness on them gloves, but that was the best catch I've seen in a long time. It was the Michael Jordan.
It really was.
Pose, going up there grabbing the ball.
It was one.
If
of
anything
the
else, it's the best catch of the season so
most
far.
Amazing thing that I have seen in a while. Number actually they're not ranked, but they will be next week. Syracuse beat Army 29-16. Dino Babers' team should be in the top 25 next week. Texas A&M beat Auburn 27-10. Former LSU quarterback Max Johnson came off the bench and threw 2 touchdown passes for A&M in the third quarter.
He was a spark for him for sure.
He really was, and it was an injury.
Connor Wegman, he ended up hurting his ankle. He finished the drive when he hurt his ankle, but they went into halftime. He never came back out.
You say quarterback controversy?
I would go with Max Johnson. I mean, the way that offense performed when he got in there.
They were stuck in the mud in the first half.
His first completion was to his brother, which I thought was pretty cool, Jake Johnson, the tight end.
Yeah.
And then he came in through another. His first touchdown was to Jake Johnson, his brother.
Right. Troy beat Western Kentucky 27-24. Kentucky goes to 4-0. They beat Vanderbilt 45-28.
You got to give Jacob some more problems.
Yeah. Well, I can't tell him that they're not.
They keep winning.
They keep winning. Devin Leary threw to a touchdown, but also threw 2 interceptions, but they still win by 17. Marshall beat Virginia Tech 24-17. It was TCU over SMU 34-17. So TCU, after losing to Colorado in the first week, has won 3 straight.
Every game, yeah.
So that good on Dion.
I think a lot of it to do is, they're not as good as we thought. They're playing really good. They're better than what everybody else expected. But Travis Hunter not being able to be in that game is going to affect them.
Tulsa beat Northern Illinois 22-14. Toledo over Western Michigan 49-31. Georgia Southern beat Ball State 40-3. Illinois beat Florida Atlantic 23-17. Maryland beat Michigan State 31-9. Talia Tagovailoa threw 3 touchdown passes for Maryland. This was the week that they officially moved on from Mel Tucker, although there's that one's going to court.
It's going to court for a little while.
Nebraska beat La Tech 28-14. It was Louisville over Boston College 56-28. Kansas over BYU 38-27. Jayhawks are 4-0 on the season. West Virginia beat Texas Tech 20-13. It was New Mexico over UMass 34-31 in overtime. Old Dominion beat Texas A&M Commerce 10-9. Texas A&M Commerce Lions. Ohio beat Bowling Green 38-7. It was Miami of Ohio over Delaware State 62-20. Iowa State beat Oklahoma State 34-27. This is supposed to be a low-scoring game. The total in the game was 35.5. They had that by halftime. South Florida beat Rice 42-29. Jacksonville State over Eastern Michigan 21-0. Central Michigan beat South Alabama 34-30. Tough to figure the Jaguars. Thought that they were going to have a good team. Lost to Tulane in the opener. Okay, Tulane's pretty good. They're going to thumped Oklahoma State last week, but then maybe Oklahoma State's not very good. East Carolina beat Gardner-Webb 44-0. It was Liberty over Florida International 38-6. Georgia Tech beat Wake Forest 30-16. Houston over Sam Houston 38-7. Colorado State beat Middle Tennessee 31-23. Kudos to the Rams. That not the easiest thing to go on the road after that emotional loss last week. Yeah, they did a nice job. Arizona beat Stanford 21-20. It was Tulane over Nichols 38-7. Computer just went crazy. Okay, Wyoming beat App State 22-19. It was Arkansas State over Southern Miss 44-37. Texas State beat Nevada 35-24. Indiana over Akron 29-27. That was in 4 overtimes. Missouri goes to 4-0. They beat Memphis 34-27. Brady Cook threw for 341 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Northwestern beat Minnesota 37-34. That was in overtime. Northwestern 2-2 on the season. They only won 1 game all of last season. South Carolina beat Mississippi State 37-30 despite 487 yards passing from Will Rogers.
A little different offense.
Yeah, a little bit, I would say. Well, UL Lafayette beat Buffalo 45-38. It was Kansas State over Central Florida 44-31. James Madison beat Utah State 45-38. UNLV beat UTEP 45-28. Barry Odom, former coordinator last year.
State coordinator.
Well, they went they're 3-1. UNLV, not bad.
Arkansas is missing them on the defense.
They could use him back. Not the easiest job out there at Vegas, and that is your college football scoreboard. Take a break. Game Balls is next. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come on, live Baton Rouge. I'm
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Game Ball. Game Ball. Game Ball. Presented by WCK Foundation Repair. Support your home team. WCK Foundation Repair.
I think I know who you're going to take, but go ahead.
I'm going to switch it up with you. I'm actually going to go with Jaden Daniels in the second half play.
Okay.
I mean, what he did in the second half is what we expect from him. He's our leader. He's our leader on the offense. He struggled in the first half, didn't have his best game, but we don't win this game without him playing the way he did in the second half.
I'd have lost my bet. I thought for sure you were going with Weeks.
I was going to, but I had to switch it up.
I'm going to go with Logan Diggs. I thought he really got the running game going in the second half. He ended up with 14 carries for 97 yards. And Brian Thomas gets my other game ball. The 2 big catches at the end of the first half en route to 5 for 133 and 2 touchdowns. Got LSU's offense kick-started at the end of the first half. Daniels, by the way, ended up 20 of 29, 320 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. He ran 10 times for 36 yards tonight on the ground. So those are.
I want to say in the first half he was 7 for 14, and then the second half he really turned it on. He went back to what we expected and had a high completion percentage.
You sent it to me. Let's see. In the first half, oh no, you sent me that was the team stats. 145 passing yards in the first half, of which 75 was on the last drive.
Yeah, but I know he was 50% completion percentage in the first half. He really turned on in the second half. I want to say he went from 7 from 14 to in the second half he was 20, 22, something like that. He had a lot better second half.
Everybody did for LSU, and they needed every bit of it as they hold on for a 34-31 win. We'll take a break, come back, and wrap things up. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
It was a humid day. Barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded.
98.1.
Wrapping up here, LSU wins it by a score of 34-31. Brian Kelly press conference on Monday. We'll have it as a part of Live at Lunch on ESPN Radio. Coach's show on Thursday night, and then LSU at Ole Miss, 5 o'clock kickoff from Oxford next week. We'll be on the air. Eagle 98.1's pregame, game day pregame version will start from Rouse's at noon next Saturday afternoon. Tigers go to 2-0 in the league and 3-1 on the season. From all of us here at the flagship, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good evening. LSU wins at 34-31. This has been Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
You take the midnight subway train. You call another shots. You strip for lightning. You're in love. You take the evening one-on-one. You're only living to have fun.
wish that you were mine. You struck the lightning.